Hello everyone and welcome to the second video of my Git series. Today we're going to learn how to set up Git repository, start and stop tracking files in Git, stage and commit changes in Git. So without further ado, let's get started. Okay, so let's start by learning how to set up a Git repository. We've seen this partially in the first video already. So basically, we have two ways for doing it. First one is to change a local folder into a Git repository using the git init command. This creates a new hidden subdirectory that contains Git repository skeleton that is needed to track all our project files. The second option is to clone an existing repository. Say you want to contribute to a public project that already exists on GitHub. You can clone it using the git clone command, and by default, the repo on your machine will have the same name as the name of the cloned repository. Okay, so let's switch to the terminal and see what it looks like in practice. I'm going to use the git clone command on a public repository that I created for the purpose of this tutorial. Obviously, I will put a link to that repo in the comment section so you can practice on your own. Okay, so I'm going to use this git clone command, and I have this link, git repo link in my clipboard already, so I'm gonna simply paste it in here. There we go, and I'm gonna run this command right now. Okay, so since I haven't created any files in this project, we get this warning here. I'm going to go inside this repository and when we run ls-a command right now, we can see that there is this git skeleton repository right there. Okay, so let's now remind ourselves how to turn a local repo into a Git repository. So I'm gonna go up one level in my directory hierarchy, and in here I'm gonna create a directory called test repo. Obviously, we need to navigate in there. And to initialize a local Git repository, we simply use the git init command. This obviously will create this Git skeleton subdirectory as well. Okay, so I'm gonna clear the screen and we're gonna go back to the cloned Git tutorial repo. There we go, and we'll start working from here. By the way, I suggest that you clone this repo and follow along. Okay, first of all, we need to know how to check the status of our repo. And the main tool in Git for checking the status of your files is git status command. So this is an important one to note. So when we run this git status command right now, we get information about progress of our work. In other words, we can see in which states our files are. Since we did not create any file after cloning the repository, we have a clean slate. We are on branch master, but don't worry about branches for the time being. We'll get to that in the next videos, sorry. Obviously, we don't have any commits neither, but we get this nice hint that in order to track files, we should create or copy them, and after that use the git add command. And as you remember, this command moves files from working directory to the staging area. Okay, so let's create now a Python file, our first file in our project, and we'll move this file step by step from the working directory to the committed stage. In other words, to the Git database. Okay, so I'm gonna clear the screen and I'm going to use Vim text editor to do that. And we're gonna call this file script.py. At the top here, I'm gonna include the shebang line, and I'm gonna indicate my Python interpreter here, and we're gonna print out a very simple message, but this is not really relevant in our example. We just want a file that can be tracked by Git. Okay, so this is gonna be print welcome to the Git tutorial. There we go. I'm gonna save and exit out of this. After that, let's run the git status command once again. Now you can see that Git tells us it is an untracked file. And that's right, because this file wasn't in the last repository. We cloned it. So Git did not know about it. But say we want to store this file in our repository. In this case, as it is already hinted, we can simply use the git add command. And that's what we're going to do right now. So there we go, git add script.py. Now, after running, okay, first of all, I'm going to clear the screen. After running git status command again, we have this green output indicating that this file is in the staging area and it is to be committed. To remove it from the staging area, as we can see, you can simply run git rm --cached command. By the way, and this is important to note, this will only remove the file from the staging area, but the file will stay on our file system. Okay, so let's do that. Git rm --cached. I should remove the space here. And now, when we run git status again, we can see that the file is under the untracked files header. Okay, so let's add this again to the staging area. Clear the screen. We're gonna run git status again, and I'm gonna create another file. And this is gonna be simply a README file. So I'm gonna echo some message to that file. And this is gonna be markdown file. There we go. And let's run git status again. We can see that this file is now under the untracked files header. So that's the difference. We have one file in the working directory and the script.py file in the staging area. And think of the staging area as the place, waiting room, where you put selectively chosen files that should go into the next commit snapshot. And remember, this snapshot is a picture of what your project files look like at the current moment. In our case, obviously, readme.md file won't be included in the next commit. Okay, so let's now see how we can commit our change. In other words, how we can safely store our changes in the Git database. So I'm gonna clear the screen, and this can be achieved using the git commit command. So let's execute this, git commit. And by default, if we don't provide any options, this will open our default text editor. And in here, you can see these commented out lines, and they won't be included in the commit message, but we have this uncommented first line at the top, and here we will put our commit message. And in your commit message, generally, you should specify what you do and why you do it, but not how. So I'm gonna add here a message saying something like added first script to our project, added first script file to fire off our project. This is gonna be a dummy message. Okay, so when we saved and exited out of this text editor, our change has been committed to the Git database. And we can see that we have some information that we get back. First of all, we can see to which branch we committed our change. We can see the beginning of the hash value under which this file, this change is stored. And we can see some more details, and namely we can see how many lines were added, etc. There is an alternative way of committing, of making a commit in Git, and this is simply the syntax like this: git commit -m. -m stands for message, and in here, in double quotes, we specify our commit message. So this step will skip opening the text editor. So to recap, when we commit changes, we take a snapshot of what was in our staging area, and after that, it is sent, we send it to the Git database. Remember, at this point, this commit is only stored locally, and we can see it using the git log command. So I'm gonna clear it, and I'm gonna execute git log. So we can see here our commit message, we can see the hash value, we can see some details about the author and the date. Okay, so I'm gonna clear this, and we're gonna repeat the cycle one more time. Okay, so I'm gonna create another file. Simply, this is gonna be some file.txt, some text. There we go. I'm gonna save and exit. We run git status again. We can see that this file is untracked. It's in the working directory because it wasn't in the last snapshot that we committed. Okay, so let's add this file to the staging area using the git add command. And when we run git status again, we can see it is indeed in the staging area. But what happens if we modify this file again? So let's do that. I'm gonna echo second line to the file. And we're gonna run git status again. What the heck? We have this file both under the committed in the staging area and in the working directory. So if we were to commit our change right now, we would have only in our committed version only the first line of this file. So let's cut this file. So what was the name? Some file, obviously. So in our committed version, we will have only this line if we commit it right now. Okay, so we're gonna do that. We're gonna simply commit it, but right now using the second syntax. So we're gonna provide our commit message right on the command line. And add a second dummy file to our project. This is gonna be our commit message. There we go. We get this output back. When we run git log again, we can see that we have 2 commits in our Git database right now. Okay, so I'm gonna clear this. That would be it for this video. I hope that the process for getting files tracked in Git is clear for you now. I want to thank you for watching, stay safe, and have a great day. Bye bye.